Hey everybody, we are back and better than ever with our 11-1 mini lesson. And topic 11 is all about different kinds of measurements and converting the measurements. And today what we're going to look at is we're going to be looking at customary units of length. So the first thing we should probably cover is what are the customary units of length? The customary units of length are what we use in our country, in the United States. We have inches, feet, yards, and miles. Inches, feet, yards, and miles are all the customary units of length. And in order to convert between them, if I want to go from inches to feet, feet to yards, feet to miles, it's important to know how many of each are in the ones that are bigger than them. So, it's going to be very important for you to know these three conversions. There are 12 inches in 1 foot, which I hope we all know. Look at a ruler, how many inches are on the ruler. 12 inches in 1 foot. And there are 3 feet in 1 yard. Look up in the front of the room at my yardstick that I used to turn on the smartboard. On that yardstick, there are 3 feet. And one that it gets a little confusing sometimes. There are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So how I like to remember this, and what works for me, is to say 5 tomatoes. 5 tomatoes. And then I get my 5. And then tomatoes, just what does it sound like? 2 mate O's. 5 tomatoes, 5,280 feet in a mile. That works for me. If it doesn't work for you, hey, that's perfectly fine. We can try and figure out something else, or you can just memorize it. But there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. And a mile is bigger than a yard is bigger than a foot is bigger than an inch. So let's try some conversions. Just look up here real quick before you start. If we're going from a bigger unit to a smaller unit, like if we're going from feet to inches, we would be multiplying. And if we're going from something small to something big, like if we're going from inches to feet, we would divide. Okay? Let's look at the first one. I have 60 inches, and I'm going to feet. So since I'm going from something small to something bigger than that, I'm going to divide. 60 divided by 12. 12 doesn't go into 6. 12 does go into 60 5 times. So my answer is 5 feet. Make sense? Let's try the next one. I have 10 feet, but I want that in inches. So, since I'm going from something big in feet to something smaller in inches, I would multiply. 10 times 12, because we have 12 inches in 1 foot, so 10 feet multiplied by 12, I'll get 120. And let's check. Yep, that's our answer. Pause the video and try the rest by yourself. Play the video when you're ready to check your work. And pause. All right. How did you do? To go from 2 miles to feet, we had to multiply by 2. We have 5,280 feet in a mile, so we have 10,560 feet in 2 miles. All right, if you didn't get any right, or if you have some questions on some, pause the video, maybe try it again, check your math, or you can come up to the mini lesson with me. If you got it, let's move on. Let's try 3 more. Okay? Remember, if you're going from big to small, you are multiplying. you're going from small to big, you are dividing. But with these, we're not going from, we don't have an easy conversion. We'll have to convert twice. I don't have a conversion for yards to inches. I don't have an easy conversion from yards to inches. So what I would have to do is convert from yards to feet, and then feet to inches, okay? So from my 3 yards to feet, I go 3 times 3 equals 9 feet times 12 inches per foot equals 108 inches. Let me check. We're correct. 108 inches. Try the next two. Pause the video. Unpause when you want to check your work. All right. Pause. All right. How'd you do? Remember, if we're going from something like yards to inches or even miles to inches, inches to miles, we don't have that direct conversion. So you'll have to do 2 conversions. Go from yards to feet, and then feet to inches, or from inches to feet, feet to yards. Okay? If you've gotten every question right so far, stop the video and move on to your practices. If you feel like you need a little bit more help, please stay with me, and we'll do a couple more practices. All right? So if you've gotten everyone right and you feel very comfortable with this, move on to your practices. If not, stay with me. We have a couple more problems to do. All right. All right. So if you're still watching, you might have some questions about, well, which units of length are actually bigger than the others. So let's just think about some reasoning about which ones are bigger than which. So we're looking at the length of a mouse. Which one makes the most sense? 4 inches, 4 feet, 4 rulers long, or 4 yards? 4 of those yardsticks in the front of the room long. I would think that 4 inches would probably be the safest bet as to the length of a mouse. Go through the rest and just circle which ones you think are the most likely answers. If you're going to estimate the height of a doorway, the length of a football field, circle which ones you think are the most likely. Go, pause. All right, how'd you do? So, for the height of the doorway, think of me. I'm 6 feet tall, and I fit under a doorway pretty good. It's probably about a foot above my head, from my head to the doorway. It's not going to be 7 yards, 21 feet tall. No. And then 7 inches, not even 1 foot? No. And think of this one down here, the length of a new pencil. If you're confused about that one, pick up a ruler and try holding it like a pencil. It's going to feel pretty awkward. It's so long in your hand. 7 inches is probably the best bet. All right. Do the top 4. Try and convert the top 4 units of length. Pause the video and come back when you want to check your answers. Go. Pause. All right. How'd you do? For some of these first and third ones, there was a remainder. There was some left over. So whatever your remainder was left over, in the case of the first one, inches that couldn't go into a whole foot. So make sure you're being careful. Not everything is going to go in evenly. 27 inches, the closest we can get is 24. That would be the amount of inches in 2 feet. 2 feet is 24 inches. So, never mind. Whoops. Sorry, guys. 2 feet is 24 inches. We have 3 inches left over. My apologies. All right. Move on to your practices. If you have any other questions, please come up to me, join my mini lesson, or just raise a hand, flag me down, and I'll be more than happy to come work with you. All right, great job, everybody. Go on to your practices.